in Japan, it's not as much of a protein craze yet. But whenever there is the topic about not eating meat, people will be like, oh, but what about protein? Because they still think protein can only be taken from animal meat. So that's one thing. What else I'm seeing, which is very funny, because in the West, there is this thing going on about soy, right? It gives you man boobs because it has the estrogen and things like that. But in Japan, in Japan, they're actually marketing it with this phytoestrogen. It contains phytoestrogen. It's so healthy. It's written on the packages of tofu, and people buy that because they're like, oh, that's healthy. So it's the complete opposite, which I find very funny. But yeah, the marketing here is very, very different. So it's more about low cholesterol as opposed to high protein at the moment, I think.
Welcome back to Plant Fueled. As always, I'm your host, Callum Weir. Today is a bit of a full circle moment. If you've been here a while, you might remember Leonore, otherwise known online as Itadaki Healthy, a vegan nutritionist living in Japan, who joined me a couple of years ago on one of our most fascinating deep dives into plant-based culture abroad. And well, she's back, and a lot's happened since then. In this episode, we catch up on life in Japan, navigating the challenges of visas and entrepreneurship, and what it's really like to live in a country where fish, eggs and dashi rule the culinary landscape. We talk about how veganism is evolving there, or in some ways quietly reversing, and why Japan's relationship with food, wellness and balance is so unique. Leonore shares insights from her Japanese food tours, what she's learned directly working with locals, and the quiet cultural shifts that are happening around health and sustainability. We also explore the fascinating contrast in how soy and phytoestrogens are perceived and celebrated in Japan for longevity and hormonal health, but demonized in the West due to misinformation and outdated science. And of course, we couldn't help but talk about what's happening closer to home, from new EU regulations on plant-based food labelling to the frustrating politics of what we can and can't call meat. This one's thoughtful, grounded, and genuinely fun. Just two nutritionists talking about how the world around food is changing, one tofu bowl at a time. Oh, and before we dive in, if you're enjoying these conversations, do that one kind thing for your favourite podcast host. Hit follow, leave a review, share it. Whatever the platform you use allows you to do. Maybe share it to a friend who still thinks soy gives you man boobs. It helps more than you think, and still costs less than your overpriced matcha. Alright, let's get into it. Let's dive in. Peace and plants. This is what happened last time. That you were freezing last time you came on the podcast and you were putting on your blanket
Really?
at the beginning.
Yeah. Was it during a cold season too, I guess? It was not in summer.
I think it was around September time.
Yep. And it's cold again. See, it's been a while.
It has been a while. How long has it been? So last time you came on was September 2023. Around that.
Yeah, must be 2 years or 3? No, 2. 2 years.
Yeah. It's been a while. Okay.
It's been a while.
What's been new? What's happening with you? What's happening in the world of Leo? What's happening in the world of vegan nutrition Japan?
Many things. Where should I start? Ask me a question, then I know where to start. Otherwise, I will just keep going.
Feel free to keep going. But I guess, yeah, like you've made a huge transition yourself. You're no longer you're full-time vegan nutritionist now. You're not living in the corporate world like you were last time.
Right. I think that's the biggest thing that happened in this regard this year, finally. So I have been living in Japan for 11 years, and I have been working all of that time as a full-time employee in different companies. But of course, in the meantime, I was like, only being vegan is not enough. I want to do something else. So I became a vegan nutritionist, started Instagram. And yeah, the only thing that was missing was an appropriate visa that allows me to actually work as a freelancer. And I got one this year. So I was able to quit my corporate job. And yeah, now I'm a full-time freelancing vegan, I would say. And yeah, I might be poor, but happy. So
Yeah, what is the visa situation? Because I would have assumed that, you know, you being there 11 years, you also being married to somebody that lives there, that it would be quite easy just to kind of pick up a visa after a while, kind of like as a partnership visa or a spouse visa, like it is when with many other countries, but like, you know, 11 years down the line and it's taking you this long to get a visa.
well, it was a little bit of my fault because I did not want to have a spouse visa. I wanted to do everything myself.
Oh,
So
big, strong, independent woman.
yes, and well, I tried and I failed, and it's okay. I mean, I know my priorities now. I know I want to educate more people about a plant-based living in Japan locally. And I, of course, want to support vegans traveling to Japan, and this has priority now. So I'm like, okay, I have the appropriate visa then, which allows me to work as this freelancer. So here I am. And it's my first month. October is my first month being, well, technically unemployed, but employed as a freelancer. So yeah, it's been exciting.
So I know last time we spoke, obviously, I would say a plant-based diet was slightly growing in Japan. Slowly, but it was growing because obviously it was just after the Olympics where they started, you know, implementing more plant-based options for tourists. Then no one turned up to the Olympics because of, you know, situations. So they
Yeah.
spent a lot of money to implement a lot of things, and then nobody came to Tokyo. However, has the food scene realistically changed? Are you seeing more like plant-based options? But I feel like when I do see your stories, when I do kind of when I can understand them, because a lot of them are in Japanese, um, that although there's a lot of these options that look very much plant-based and they do look kind of innocent, they do still normally have like some kind of fish powder and they still have some sort of like milk or and a lot of the people when they do come over they will see, you know, tofu and be like, oh, tofu's fine because tofu's, you know, 90% of the world has tofu as a vegan product. However, that's not the case in Japan.
Nope. Yeah. It did not change much, to be honest. I think the movement is still a bit slow. Of course, there are changes here and there. Maybe new vegan restaurants are popping up, but others close. There might be a new option at another non-vegan restaurant, which is great. So it's kind of like a back and forth in this regard. But what didn't change is, as you mentioned, these hidden ingredients in these looking vegan but are not vegan items. And lately on Instagram, I've actually seen many travelers who are also vegan influencers who travel to Japan, and they're like, "Oh my God, I found this tofu stick at Family Mart or 7-Eleven, and it's so tasty." And I'm like, "I'm so sorry to tell you." I'm the vegan police of Japan. It's not vegan. Unfortunately, it does contain fish extract, which is not labeled, which is very sad. I mean, I don't mean it in a mean way, like you're not vegan anymore. It's more like I'm sorry to tell you, and I'm sorry for, well, having everybody's dream shattered. But tofu in Japan is not vegan by default, unfortunately. And even if you can decipher the labels, you have to ask the customer service, which I'm doing. And yeah, so it's still hard, I would say.
Which is it's surprising that something like fish or crustaceans or something or fish juice, fish, whatever, isn't labeled on there, because if you go into anywhere in the world, anywhere else in the world, like it's one of the 14 major allergens. So you think you need to put that on there for
Yeah.
people that are allergic to it and people that can have, detrimental effects if they eat that. Whereas I don't know, are those obviously allergens exist in Japan? Like it's not,
Yes,
these people still exist. These people with like a fish allergy or a
they do.
crustacean allergy exist in Japan. So you'd think that there'd be
Mm.
some kind of labeling. But obviously, is it the fact that those things are on there, or it's like may contain traces, or is it very much that they're just avoiding telling you?
It's not mandatory to put anything which is not a designated allergen. There are only 8 designated allergens you have to label, but this specific fish extract, katsuo, is they put it in like just a little bit, so it's not enough to actually declare. And I think, the katsuo extract has been probably one of their staple ingredients for centuries in terms of like, let's just put some flavoring in the soup and it's fish. So people actually don't connect it to having been an animal. So I think maybe that's one of the causes. Today, actually, I got a reply from Family Mart about the new tofu stick they're having. It does contain katsuo, so I asked them if it's possible to write it on the label to avoid confusion. And let's see what they answer. They probably say thank you for your proposal, but we will see what we can do, which means no.
Which is, I feel so hard for the average human, because obviously going over to Japan, it's a hard language to decipher anyway, without, without then having to try look at the back of a packet, not have those things declared on there as they would be in any other country. And I think that's the same with a lot of places in Asia. Like living in Bali, like there was, luckily I didn't eat it, but there was these kind of tofu nugget things that you can get in the supermarket, much like a 7-Eleven or a Family Mart. Those things exist over there as well. And there was these cold like tofu bits. However, they were wrapped in chicken skin,
Ooh.
but
Oh, wow.
they
Okay.
didn't declare the chicken skin. They just was like, oh, tofu bites.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only when I kind of asked the person in there, so I was like, these don't look like tofu. These look like KFC. And
Yeah.
it turns out it's basically is the same. They kind of
Ah.
did that kind of KFC style like chicken skin over the top of tofu, and I'm like, that is just like, I feel like we're getting the wrong idea here. I think you're like, I don't understand if you know the basis, because it also says vegan on it, and that was also a wild
Oh.
thing. But
Oh,
also,
okay,
I
that's
think,
very confusing.
yeah. So I think a lot of small owned companies as well don't understand what that word means. Also,
Mm, yeah, it's making things, of course, harder. But I always say if you do eat anything which is non-vegan by accident, it's non-intentionally. So things happen, people make mistakes. That happens. The only thing we can do is just to move on and learn from it. So, yeah,
yeah. How much does
that's the
that happen
number
to?
one
How much
rule.
does that happen? How much does that happen to you? I guess because obviously you're doing this as a living. You're going around trying to find the places that are
Mm,
the most vegan. You're trying to decipher the ingredients. But these things must happen to you as well, where you're eating things and then it hasn't been declared, and you're like, oh, well, now I've just eaten something with like milk in it, or like fish in it, or whatever else. And that's obviously unintentional, but for a lot of people, like, you've just ruined your whole livelihood. You're a fake. Like, it happens on a regular basis.
yes,
I
yes.
I assume.
No, 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 I'm perfect. I would never do such a thing. So, no, I mean, it does happen. It does happen. And of course, I feel always very like sad about it, especially because I don't want to disappoint people. But things happen, and what I do then is I make a post about it. That's how we learn, right? Because it's a mistake I made, and I want people to know about it so maybe they can avoid it. I mean, what happened to me recently was it was a rookie mistake, a real rookie mistake. But I did it. So it was a couple of weeks ago, and a friend offered me a chewing gum. And I ate the chewing gum. And then I thought, oh, maybe I should have checked the ingredients. And it turned out that that chewing gum contains gelatin. And I'm like, all right, right, Japanese chewing gum is never vegan. How could I forget that? For some reason, I just didn't think about it. But then this mistake actually made me go to every convenience store and check literally every brand with the hopes of finding one which doesn't contain gelatin. But even the mints, they contain gelatin too. And I'm like, wow, okay. Because I'm not really a gum person. I usually buy vegan certified chewing gums in Germany. And then whenever I eat one, I have my own. But at that time, I didn't have any on me. And I'm like, yeah, I really need a gum right now. So yeah, but that that's a whole new topic I have not looked into. And thanks to my mistake, I was actually able to. And now I'm like, all right, let's warn people about this gelatin because I don't know, for me as a German, having gelatin in a chewing gum is something I would have not expected. I don't know how it is in the UK, but not gelatin.
I think it's to say mostly around Europe. I would say Australia, America, and any other places really. That I think when you look at chewing gum, it's normally vegan, it's normally vegetarian. There's not normally gelatin in the chewing gum, and it does surprise me that some like that out of all the countries, it's kind of like, hey, let's stick it in. Why not?
For the extra chew and nutrition, protein, I guess.
Yeah, but well, that's the thing. Because gelatin is one of the only animal nutrients that doesn't have a full set of amino profiles. It actually has lack of nutrition in comparison to the rest. So it blows my mind that people still have sweet with gelatin in over here because they think the gelatin is good for them, whereas it has
Oh,
like zero, benefit to the body. People are then, oh, it's like collagen or other things, bits and pieces, any other kind of buzzword that's going on at the moment. But yeah, it's. But you're also seeing a movement with over here where sweets are now becoming gelatin free as well. So things are slowly moving that way. I don't think all sweets are. A lot of them still do contain gelatin, but there's a huge shift now that we know we can create without gelatin.
that's good. That's good. I hope there is a way to make chewing gums without gelatin in Japan
You'd think
one day.
they'd know that, seeing that the rest of the world doesn't use it. It's kind of like, hey, let's make our own rules.
Yes. Well, yes, that's exactly the case. But lesson learned, I will never eat any chewing gum anymore for the next couple of years until I maybe find one which doesn't contain any gelatin. But then it probably contains fish extract. Who knows?
I mean, if nutrition doesn't work out for you, you can start your own chewing gum brand.
Right. Ooh, that's a good idea. Own chewing gum in Japan. Yeah. The V gum. Never
V-gum?
mind. I said it first. Everyone who's listening, I said it first. Maybe it's already existing. Who
Would you
knows?
say it's now it would be easier to eat in like the major cities like Tokyo? Because I've had people on that have spoken about, traveling, and they were like, Tokyo is very easy because I think you can go to Happy Cow and you kind of work out what isn't. And like there's more of a demand for it there than I guess, other places around Japan where there isn't so much, where it's more kind of family orientated, where there's, small villages. They're not going to have like a pop up, vegan restaurant. it's very they're not going to be like plant friendly.
Yeah. Yeah, as you said, it's very easy in Tokyo and Osaka and Kyoto, like the bigger cities. It is really easy. However, you always have to do some research beforehand because many vegan restaurants, they might be closed or, there's a huge line waiting or you have to reserve before. So it's always good to do some research and you can't expect just to rock up somewhere and be seated and that's it. Or go into a non-vegan restaurant and say, hey, can you make this vegan for me? That's not going to work in Japan, unfortunately. So yeah, always do some research. Follow me on Instagram.
Get your
Um,
vegan guide.
right. And whenever you go into the countryside or less touristy areas, you also have to prepare. Don't rely on convenience stores. I actually made a whole YouTube video about how to shop vegan at convenience stores, and half of it is just disclaimers about what is not vegan, even though it looks vegan. So what we just talked about. But always prepare. There are things you can buy in the big city, for example, a vegan cup ramen. Just carry them with you, and make sure whenever you are staying in some town, check the surroundings. Maybe there are some vegan places nearby. Yeah, but it's all about preparation. Or you just book an Airbnb with a kitchen and you cook your own stuff.
But also cooking your own stuff can be hard if you're picking up stuff and it has you don't know what's inside it. It's kind of
Unless you
a
go back to the basics. I always say go back to the basics, like the OG vegans from the 80s.
the rice,
Beans,
sweet potatoes,
rice,
beans.
yes. So
But then
the
again,
less
if you look at
processed,
fruit,
the better.
like fruit is also quite expensive in Japan as well, though. So it's kind of, or as it's made out to be on like TV and things like this. That kind of like if somebody wants to go back to the basics, like vegetables, I assume probably cheaper, but fruit is quite expensive. I've seen the price of strawberries.
Yeah, but these are like the special strawberries, right? These are usually very nice looking strawberries you buy expensive as a gift for someone. So the person understands, oh, wow, you spend so much money for me with these awesome strawberries. So I have been able to find cheaper strawberries. They might not look as nice, but they still taste good for like 399 yen. I have no idea how many
What
pounds
is that
these
in
are.
euros?
In euro, it would be like 2 euros or something.
Oh, that's not too bad.
So it's doable. You just have to know where to go. So if you go into any maybe pleb supermarket like I do, you can find cheap things as well. So my favorite is called Gyomu Super, and Gyomu Super is quite cheap. I also buy frozen vegetables and frozen berries, quite affordable. And they even have a vegan bolognese, like in a glass, in a jar, which I love. And it is vegan. So I use that one quite often. So supermarkets are your friend and go back to basics is what I say. Which is
Hmm.
actually good for health too, right? The less processed you eat, the better.
I mean,
So
yeah, I guess like from two nutritionists, we should probably be talking about health at some point. Uh, yeah, so that's the thing. I think a lot of people forget that we can just go back to basics and we can just start eating the things. And realistically, it's very unlikely there's going to be added things to the fruit, the vegetables, unless you're in America. Then there's all sorts of stuff added to those. But um, as I discovered a few months ago, in whole
oh my
like
god.
I know like there was some fruit and vegetables that I was like nothing should be this big. There was a blueberry like this size. I've never seen a blueberry bigger than the small blueberries that you get anywhere else in
Mm-hmm.
the world. And yeah, I went into a Walmart, saw these blueberries. I was like, those Those are the most genetically modified blueberries that I have ever seen. They were huge.
Interesting. Did you try it or did you
No,
not buy it?
I was kind of scared of how big the fruit was. Like, I know everything over in America has to be like bigger and better than the rest of the world, but like,
Mm.
I don't know if your fruit should be like gigantic. I don't know if your apples should look like the size of my head. I don't know if your watermelons should be seedless. Um, it's all a bit strange.
Yeah. But fun fact, in Japan we do have apples which are the size of my head actually. And they're not from Fukushima. They're from other regions. And they're really amazing. But these are a little bit more expensive.
Yeah, I assume that's the thing. You can get these, fruits in that way if you put them under the right atmospheres. You put them in the right conditions, then they will grow. But like the thing is, you go into places like the States, and you know full well with that track record of what they do to that food, that is that is very likely that
Yeah.
these things aren't as they seem. Like, and that's the thing. It's also pretty hard to go back to basics there as well, because as you mentioned, going back to unprocessed vegetables, fruit, beans, etc., etc. It's so expensive to eat like that there in comparison. Like you're going to a supermarket and you'll want to go buy some fruit or some vegetables, and maybe you want to go for a better version. So maybe you go into like a Whole Foods or something. And a Whole Foods in the UK, I would say, is rather cheap. However, a Whole Foods in the States, the bar is so low for the food that they can kind of hike up the price for something healthy.
Wow.
So like you'll go in and you'll see these things that should just be a necessity for most people, your fruit, your veg, and it's crazy amounts. Like there was a like a food court where you can kind of like pick up your own things and put it into a container. They do tofu, they do like loads of vegetables and stuff. You put it in, and it's just like a eat as you go lunch. And I didn't realize how much they weighed it by, so I didn't actually have much in there. However, it came to $40 for just filling up kind of a salad
Oh,
bar. It's insane.
wow.
Which is what
Wow.
25, 30 pounds, around 30 euros as well, just for that.
Mhm. Wow. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, but I mean it's also, I guess, it depends if you are traveling or if you live somewhere permanently, because it is more difficult to go back to these basics and cook every day and have staple foods when you're traveling somewhere, as opposed to, well, I live here. I know which places to go, which supermarkets, and what to stock up on. But I think in the end, you don't need to stress about it too much. I mean, especially when you travel to Japan. Tofu is very cheap, so just buy some slabs of tofu with some soy sauce. I mean, I love that. Yeah, I don't know what people think about just, this normal tofu, just eating it raw as it is. Have you ever had that? Do you like that?
What, raw tofu?
Yeah, with a
As
little
in
bit of
firm
soy
raw tofu,
sauce.
or like, or as in kind of like the soft kind of like
Just a
silken
slab
tofu?
of tofu.
I enjoy tofu raw. It doesn't bother me in any way, shape, or form. I also kind of like it in miso soup, where it's very much, it's
Right.
uncooked and just kind of a bit slimy, and I'm like, I love this. However, natto is by far the worst thing that Japan have ever created. Um,
No, I love natto. It's
I,
so good for you.
it's so good. It's so good for you.
K2.
It's full of K2. It's funky and it tastes disgusting. I actually wrote an article the other
Yeah.
day on natto and ripped into it constantly because it's so good for you. But
Oh.
it doesn't help with the fact that there's things that are so good for you, like fruit and vegetables, but people won't eat them because they don't taste good. And unless you
Mm.
make something taste good, and natto is, you have to be a psycho to enjoy the taste.
Okay. Well, well, it took me 3 years to like it. okay, I have been living in Japan for 3 years and I despised natto. I hated it so much. Even the smell is like, ooh, how can you eat that? And then for some reason, I started trying natto in very, very small doses whenever I had the chance. And then that one day, I was like, I really want to eat natto. So I went and bought natto. I'm like, what's happening to me? What's happening? And since that day, I enjoy natto. I love it. But I only like it like pure as it is with a little bit of soy sauce, not on rice or anything. I just like it by itself. In fact, I had some for lunch today. So
But you're still covering up the taste of the soy sauce, though.
just a little soy sauce,
Yeah, so
not
you're
that
still you're
much.
still you're still covering up the taste. Because I that's the
You're
thing.
meant to do that, so you can't eat it by itself. I mean, it has to have some liquid, so it makes these nice, stringies.
Yeah. I don't think you're selling it. I don't think you're selling it in any way, shape, or form.
Well, I mean, it takes time, and because I was able to eat it, I believe everyone can get used to certain foods. Just take your time, just eat a little bit, and you'll be fine. So whenever you come to Japan, I will feed you natto every day. You have to eat it, and
I,
then
I do.
you
I
leave Japan
do.
thinking, "Oh my God, natto! Why didn't I start it earlier?" Maybe you just had bad batches of natto, right? So
My natto experience is from Australia, so
yeah,
I
so
wouldn't say it's
maybe.
from Japan. It may be nicer in Japan, but I've got Stockholm syndrome every time I think about it.
Oh no.
But when it comes nutrition wise, I think you've got it from two different sides of the spectrum, because you see nutrition from Germany, where you're from, and obviously Japan, and with me from England. And at the moment, I think in the Western world, as I would say, that probably more likely the States and the UK, probably Germany as well, um, is the fact that everything at the moment has to be marketed as high protein to kind of buy it. Everything has to be like high protein cereal, high protein, protein bars, high protein
Yes.
anything. Um, but is that the same in Japan? Like, is there this fixation that we need protein, protein, protein? Um, because over here, it's definitely marketed as the only nutrient we ever need, and like you can't thrive without just protein. Where obviously there's
Yeah.
a huge amount of different things we need, but we're focusing on protein, but malnourished in so many other areas.
Yes. True. And I mean, look at us. We are especially malnourished as vegans. So it's very hard. No, I mean, in Japan, it's not as much of a protein craze yet. But whenever there is the topic about not eating meat, people will be like, oh, but what about protein? Because they still think protein can only be taken from animal meat. So that's one thing. What else I'm seeing, which is very funny because in the West, there is this thing going on about soy, right? It gives you man boobs because it has the estrogen and things like that. But in
That's so much
Japan,
so.
yeah, but in Japan, they're actually marketing it with this phytoestrogen. It contains phytoestrogen. It's so healthy. It's written on the packages of tofu, and people buy that because they're like, oh, that's healthy. So it's the complete opposite, which I find very funny
That
to the
is
Western world.
that is mind blowing. Because yeah, like, like we're so fixated on the fact that soy has phytoestrogens, and people can't seem to decipher the fact that estrogen and phytoestrogen are two different things. People don't seem to be able to acknowledge that, and with that, with that knowledge, people then are assuming that you're gonna get man boobs, you're gonna, especially if you're a guy, you're gonna turn into a woman, you're gonna be feminized, They don't really say anything about women eating tofu. It's only in the guy atmosphere. It's like the
Yeah.
manosphere, very much. Hey, if you eat tofu as a guy, that you are less masculine. If you drink soy milk, or eat tempeh, etc.,
Mm.
etc. Where it is weird that the other side of the world is kind of like, hey, this is amazing. We should be eating this. We love it. We're
Because it's
celebrating it.
healthy. Yes. Because every person I talk to, especially in the corporate world where people don't really think about nutrition at all, they just do their job and they just get their whatever lunchbox they get from the convenience store. Really, 99% of the people tell me they have high cholesterol and they don't know why. And I'm like, are you eating a lot of meat and lots of products which are, what is the word? Processed? Are you eating a lot of processed products? And they're like, oh, actually, I have no idea, but I guess so. It's like, yeah. So tofu is one of these, now branded as one of these healthy products which you should eat. And I mean, it's true. That's one craze I support. It's like, yes, eat more tofu. But yeah, the marketing here is very, very different. So it's more about low cholesterol as opposed to high protein at the moment, I think.
Being in a corporate office, did they know what you did outside of the corporate world? Did they know you were a nutritionist? Or did you kind of keep that
Some
side?
people, no, I'm very vocal about it. I mean, whenever there was an opportunity to speak out or make a sarcastic remark, I'm like, maybe you should eat more vegetables. I'm a nutritionist. I know that. So yeah, but of course I was still friendly saying that. But I think most of the people knew about it, but it's not really anything people are like interested in following, I guess, yet.
So what was your lunchbox like? Because you've gone in, you're seeing everybody else's kind of like 7-Eleven processed little lunchboxes, and then you've clearly gone in with something very, very different. Because I doubt you're picking up your 7-Eleven lunchbox, um, or family
Well,
mart lunchbox. So what was your little lunch?
well, it depends, of course. I knew places to go for lunch which have vegan options. If I do get takeout, then I actually did go a lot to 7-Eleven and Family Mart, but I went back to basics. So I just got like a salad without dressing, slab of tofu, a white rice bowl, or any kind of rice bowl which doesn't contain fish. And yeah, that's like sweet potatoes, a lot of sweet potatoes. I love sweet potatoes. So it was more like a DIY set. And people are like, oh, okay, interesting. But no one dared to say anything about protein or anything because they knew I could actually lecture them for the better. Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, I
but you
got
have
weird.
you have been lecturing as well, haven't you? Because like you're still doing talks. You still talk at places about protein in these kind of like corporate places. You talk about nutrition. And remember, I can't remember how long ago it was now that you said. I think it was last year. Was it last year or beginning of this year where you were like, I'm speaking at a firm. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the name of the firm that you were speaking at, but like you were
Just
you were
bank.
speaking at.
Yeah, it's a new thing I've been starting. There is not much request yet, but I was lucky that I have a vegan friend working at that bank who actually was able to bring me in as a vegan nutritionist to give like a plant-based nutrition 101 lecture, break it down, make it simple for people who are interested. And this is something I will definitely, hopefully, do again moving forward. So I'm planning to do lectures in the corporate world, but also in a more casual setting in Japanese or in English. So this is something I'm working on as well. I will probably be able to give more presentations or workshops next year. So this year has been a bit crazy. And I have a lot of things to do, including creating my new website, which takes time. So yeah, but this is something I will definitely do more.
Was there much interest when you went and did the talk?
I would say kind of yes, from the people who were there. It was just, there were not many people, but the people who were there, they were very interested and wanted to know. And they're very, I don't want to say shocked, but they were kind of shocked that you can actually get most nutrients from plants. So yeah, I think it was a small win, and I think I just need platform to reach people and give them a little food for thought. And then I'm here. If they need one-on-one coaching, if they need more support, I'm happy to do that.
There's been something going on in the EU at the moment, and I know you have some thoughts on it. Doing that apparently, luckily, that I'm guessing that's the one good thing coming out of Brexit is the fact that that hasn't really crossed over here.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's been a shit show. Other than that, but the EU has now, and you obviously originally being from Germany, so well, I don't know if it's really going to affect you in any way living in Japan, but no longer allowed to use meaty terms on packaging, so you can't have your vegan sausage or your vegan burger or your whatever plant-based chickenless snack. Like,
it will be flavored tofu mash steak. Yeah.
I think it really speaks to the fact that I think the EU really thinks people are that stupid not to realise. Because I don't think there's really any confusion when it says chickenless, bite, like, meatless burger. I don't think there's confusion. I think it's very much they are creating an issue that wasn't an issue. And because some people, they're just distracting people from whatever else is going on by being like, "Hey, this is the biggest issue at the moment. We can't call like chicken pieces." I'm just like, are people really getting that confused?
Yeah. I think, the vegan food market is really big in Germany. I think Germany and UK are one of the countries with the biggest percentage of vegan foods and vegans. So
They're all hanging
yeah,
out
I
in
think
Berlin.
there's I know, right? Why? But I think in Japan this issue will only arise once the items and the variety of accessible food grows, like it does in Germany. But I mean, since I do live in Japan, I will continue saying vegan sausage and vegan keema curry, vegan ramen. So
I don't think it's really going to affect anything because I think people are still going to call it that. People, but no one's going to be able to tell them they can't say it. Like, yes, the packaging may have to change, and you may have to call it like a
yeah,
vegetable disc or something like that. However, the
vegetable
thing is,
mash.
like, what blows my mind with it is the fact they're trying to, ban the word burger, but burger doesn't overly have to be meat. That's a patty. The patty is what either meat or vegetables or black beans or soy or
Yeah,
whatever. That's the patty. So that's not really a term. Whereas a burger is just bun, whatever's inside and then bun the other side. But then
yeah,
with that, are we going to go with full transparency and be like, hot dog is not a dog, peanut butter is not butter? Like, where do
no,
you then go with that? Because you can't then be like banning these words and be like, oh, we can keep hot dog. It's not a fucking dog. Like, you can't.
I know. Yeah.
Peanut butter has
What about
0
baby
butter in
oil?
it.
Baby oil contains babies, right? It's oil made out of babies, I thought.
Like, there's so little transparency with the other side. So are they
Yeah.
going to be like this? If we're going to have to be transparent and be like, hey, this is a disc of vegetables, this is an oblong piece of soy, it's whatever. Are we then going to be like, hey, is this chicken nugget is 33 different chickens mashed into one tiny nugget? Is that what we're going to say? Because I
Yeah,
doubt that
definitely we
works the other
should.
way. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I will report back to you when I'm on the ground, because I will go back to Germany soon for a little bit to visit my family and friends, and I will have a look how the whole situation is, if it's really that what you see on social media, or
I
if anything changed at all. Maybe not in that short amount of time, but yeah, who knows? Let's see.
I don't think anything will change. Like it's not the biggest issue on the planet. There's things going on that are bigger, and it's just kind of like, hey, we
Yeah.
just need to fill in this gap with something. And at the moment, that gap is let's stop calling things. But also, this argument comes up every year, and nothing happens. Like every year,
Right. Yeah.
it goes to
True.
court, nothing happens
Yeah.
because
I think last year was France.
yeah. Well, France have banned soy in schools because they can't read literature and they can't read science. Um, it's it's wild. They banned soy
Mm.
products because apparently the whole estrogen phytoestrogen thing, which is when you look at the 30, 40 years worth of like studies, meta-analyses, cohort studies, all of these that have absolutely zero correlation to estrogen. However, that's the French for you.
Yeah.
Sorry if there's anybody listening from France, but I don't think I have a I don't think I have a great listening
Oh,
from the French.
yeah. I think, yeah, even if they might agree with you because they know.
Yeah, what to be fair, what is it like in Germany? Because obviously, like we are told that obviously, you know, veganism or plant-based options are huge in Germany, and I've seen that for myself. But I've only really been to Berlin, and Berlin's not really. Although it's the capital of Germany, it's also its own world. It's kind of like I would say it's a project of its own. It's
Oh, yes.
it's it's a whole
Yes,
different
yes.
world. I feel like Germans don't believe that Berlin exists.
Well, they do, but we tend to ignore it, maybe. I mean, I've been to Berlin a couple of times, but I didn't really like it. Um, at that time, I said I don't like big cities, and now I live in Tokyo. But Tokyo is very different. It is very different to Berlin. Berlin is just, it depends on the area you go, I think, but it can be very dangerous, especially for women. So it's not really a town I want to go to when I go to Germany. But in terms of vegan options, I also heard there's a lot going on, but it's probably similar to Japan in a sense of, well, the big cities like Tokyo, they have a lot of vegan restaurants. However, almost every supermarket you go to in Germany does have vegan options with the vegan label. So in terms of shopping, I think it's quite easy. If you go to restaurants, I'm not 100% sure because when I go home, usually I don't go to many restaurants. I usually have my parents cook for me or my sister's cooking for me or we cook together. So or we order pizza. I miss pizza. There's no vegan pizza service in Japan, so yeah,
I don't assume pizza's a huge thing in Japan in general, is it?
not at all. I make my own pizza now. In fact, just today I got delivered 10 kilograms of whole wheat. What is it called? Eh, It's
Flour?
on the tip of my flour. Thank you. I got delivered whole wheat flour today, 10 kilograms. So I'm able to bake bread and make pizza again soon. So yay. But yeah, no market at all in this regard. Even if you go to Domino's pizza here, the dough actually contains lard, so it's not even vegetarian, or you can't make it vegan. Even if you say, okay, no cheese, please, there's lard in the dough.
Which is, I feel like Japan have just seen the rest of the world and like, we're not going to do it that way. We're just going to kind of do it
No,
any other way possible. So that Domino's, which, you can make vegetarian, vegan, plant-based anywhere else in the world, they're like, nope, you're not going to be able to do that.
no,
You're not going to be able to
no.
eat tofu, where the rest of the world is, tofu's fine. You're not going to be able to do this. You're not going to be able to do this. And we're just going to make everything a bit strange.
Yeah, I mean, even the French fries at McDonald's, they are fried in animal fat, not vegetable fat. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
I feel like you're not getting the McPlant in Japan.
there's nothing. There's nothing. No.
Yeah, because I feel like it's one of those places that I would love to visit, explore, travel around, and I know that I'd be absolutely fine, mainly because I have you on my side, and I can just give you a message being like, "Hey, is this fine?" But I feel, yeah, for the majority of people, and I think this can be for like a lot of places in the world, people are afraid to travel due to like dietary restrictions or what they choose to eat. And I would say from traveling the last 4 years around the world that I wouldn't say it's ever been an issue. Like I've been into like the deserts in Colombia, and they do seem to have something that you can kind of like create if needs be. Whereas I feel like Japan might be a different ballgame. There's South America, the majority of Asia has been absolutely fine. But I feel like from what I hear, and I think from what I hear when I say it, it's very much what I hear from people traveling outside of Tokyo. Because once you're outside of Tokyo, once those restaurants aren't like just readily available for you, it's then kind of, how do I eat? Where do I eat? Like, is it going to be accessible if I'm in this small village up in like the mountains?
No, nothing is accessible. Yeah, I mean, you have to prepare, you have to check the surroundings where you're going to travel to. Some hotels might be able to accommodate, but there's so much hidden things in the food, like the fish stock, which is not even considered as an animal ingredient. So it is very hard for people to make changes, and they don't want to make changes because they might fear that the taste is not as good. It's not authentic. That's why we can't make changes. Even though I personally told people it's fine, I just use soy sauce. I don't need this kind of prepared sauce you have for the noodles. I just use soy sauce and water. I don't mind that at all. Yeah, so it's not as easy. Doable, but not as easy. And I think many people also think that there's a huge street food market in Japan, like it is, for example, in Thailand, but it's not. There's almost no street food in Japan, unless there's maybe a festival or something like this, and then still 99% is kind of some food mixed with animal ingredients. And even the corn, for example, you can buy corn cobs. They do use butter, dairy butter sometimes. But you can ask if you can speak some Japanese, because sometimes they actually don't use dairy butter and just use soy sauce, then it's fine. But yeah, it's always best to double check.
And this, I guess, is why you come in handy, because you are doing tours right now. You are doing tours. You're on Airbnb doing tours. So for people coming over, then you are a resource that they can pick up and use.
Yes, use me, please.
Just give me the money.
No, I mean that's the thing I started because there are vegan food tours where people, I don't know, eat some vegan ramen or make some sushi. But my vegan food tour is rather a shopping tour. So we do eat some vegan donuts in the beginning, which are awesome. But this tour is more about going into a supermarket actually and discover some products which maybe look vegan, but they're not vegan. And I explain some things. And of course, people can ask me questions, whatever they want to know. We also go into a convenience store because people love convenience stores. So it's basically a tour about how to navigate your vegan shopping in Japan. It can come handy to tourists, but also people who actually move to Japan as vegans, or they're now vegans or plant-based and they do already live in Japan. So I welcome everyone who's interested. So yeah, please join.
Where do you find that? Is that Airbnb?
I'm sorry, one more time.
Where do you find that? Is it Airbnb, or can you just kind of like get in touch
Yes,
with you through Instagram?
thank you. Yes, so I do offer these tours via Airbnb exclusively for the time being. So you have to have an Airbnb account for that, but you can make that quite easily. And then it just gives an extra layer of security for both sides. And then you can sign up through the experience I made on the platform.
That's really cool. I'm going to search that later and see if I can find it.
Yes, please. Maybe not yet. I just started it this month, so yeah.
Yeah, it was what? Okay, so you've now quit the corporate world. You're now full-time nutritionist. What is now full-time nutritionist for you? Are you taking on clients? Are you doing talks? Are you doing your food tour? You're doing a multitude of other things. Like, what is, obviously you're still on Instagram, you're still doing everything. You're taking on a lot. Rebuilding a website. What are, I would say, the things that you're now taking on that you couldn't have done to begin with?
Yeah, good question. And there's so many things I'm planning, I wanted to do. I don't know where to start. So, of course, I do offer online coaching for people who maybe want to have a change, a healthier change in their diet, or they want to be vegan, they don't know how. So this is something I did do before and I'm still doing now. And I'm also currently rewriting like a basic vegan guide in Japanese, which I want to make as an actual booklet soon to hand out to people. It will be just very simple, like this is for protein, this is for calcium, combine it this way. Don't drink coffee when you have a calcium-rich meal, and things like that. So this is something I'm working on. Then I will do, of course, still create content on Instagram, more like restaurants and don't eat this tofu steak because it contains hidden ingredients, this type of thing. I started YouTube as well, just uploaded my first video about shopping in a convenience store. Please subscribe to my
I
YouTube so
did
I
I
can
I
monetize
did
it.
see your I did watch your first ever Instagram your YouTube video the other day.
Thank you. Please give it a like and a comment and then subscribe. Yeah, I mean, this was my first thing I just really wanted to do for YouTube. I do think I will continue with YouTube, but my main focus is more actually for locals in that regard. So I do want to have more presentations in Japanese, and I'm actually also writing a children's book right now in Japanese, which will be touching more the ethical side of veganism. So it's basically about a kid who has a lovely dog, and then they have an adventure in a sanctuary and meeting different animals and be friends. So You don't eat your friends, right? And of course, in the end, there will be something for the parents that they're not concerned about nutrition. So this is something I'm working on right now, and also working on my own merch because you have to have merch, right? But this basically started because there are no vegan message items in Japan. So I basically designed something along the lines of animals are friends, not food, with some cute animals. And this is something I'm working on as well. I just need to find out how to ethically print these t-shirts and eco bags in Japan, and it has not been easy. There's not much available in Japan, which is a bit shocking because I thought, hey, sustainability, no? Do we still have to get the t-shirts from poor country? Do we have to do that? So yeah, this is also something I'm working on. Yeah, and who knows? Yeah, this
No,
is
I'm excited to
lots
see
of
where
things
it all
going on.
goes. I'm excited because it's one
Me
of those things
too.
that I've been. I think every time we speak, I'm like, quit your job, But- and now it's actually
Finally, I
happened.
did. Yes. I mean, it's the first time in my life that I'm freelancing, but I feel I have enough motivation and support. I have great community already on Instagram who supports me, which is lovely. And of course, you support me too, which I'm very grateful for. So yeah, let's see how it goes. But I'm very motivated. Change is coming. I believe it, even in Japan.
I think you're gonna smash it because I think realistically, when we first started speaking, it's probably 5 years ago, 6 years ago, maybe when we were kind of like, hey, I was like, you got this, and you over time you've just progressed and got better and better. So I can only assume now that you don't have anything holding you back. You don't really have the corporate lineup pushing you for extra stuff that you can now put your full focus into what you actually enjoy doing.
Thank you. I hope so. I believe so. I mean, same for you, but you're already crushing it. So with your knife,
the I don't
I
know.
love that.
It's weird. The knife thing is so weird because I get people love it, and if I don't, but people then complain that I'm using the knife, and if I get rid of the knife, people are like, "Where's the knife?" Um. So
Well, you're the
yesterday
knife guy now.
I got I got I get messages. I get private messages and comments being like, "Please stop using the knife. It's making me feel uncomfortable." And I'm like, okay, so this is also a small majority
Okay,
of people. It's very much like
interesting.
0.1% of people. But then when I try to appease those people by not using a knife, I use like a potato peeler instead. Everybody's like, "Where's the knife? Like, where is it? Like, why are you not using it anymore?" So I just can't win.
Maybe use both, just like one spoon and one knife, and then you go like this.
Yeah, I've tried an array of different things, and then I was like, you know what, we're just gonna go full on with a knife, and then I just got a meat cleaver out. But I don't know why I own a meat cleaver. Like, there is the only thing that gets cut in this is vegetables, tofu, tempeh, and like potato. I don't know why I own a meat cleaver. Um, so yeah, that one
For the
comes out, and
plant
I'm just glad.
meat. Yeah, it's good. I mean, well, there are always haters, but as long as we're doing what we like, and we do actually help a lot of people, I believe. I'm sure you receive positive messages too, as do
Yeah,
I. So
there's a
yeah, so
multitude
I'm
of
always
positive messages that kind of overthrow the
yeah.
negative ones. I think with every 100 positives, there'll always be a negative, and that's okay because I'm not going to appease everybody. I'm doing what I enjoy doing. But also, you do get some hate comments telling you to leave Japan. So
Yes,
how are you
yes.
dealing with that?
Well, I booked a flight back to Germany. No, I mean, it always depends on who it comes from, these kind of comments. I usually do check the profile and see, like, is this like a person maybe I can still talk to or not, but usually I just block because my content doesn't have anything to do with anything really. I mean, I'm in Japan, I'm just sharing the reality of a vegan life in Japan. It doesn't mean I don't like Japan. There are things I don't like about Japan, obviously, but because I'm not Japanese, I'm not allowed to say things like this. And this goes for any other foreigner living in Japan at the moment, especially. But it is what it is. I mean, people will always find a way to, you know, have a hate comment, but it's easy. It's easy to say, hey, you're a Caucasian woman. You're not Japanese. Why are you in Japan? Why are you talking about Japan? It is what it is, I guess. I will never be Japanese, but I do live here. So yeah, I
Why
guess
is
that's
it
what it
that?
is.
Why is it at the moment that like there is this kind of, I would say, movement in Japan that is kind of being like, well, foreigners can't speak up even if they have been living there, 11 years. And you're going to be living there more. At one point, it's going to be like 20 years. At one point, it's going to be 30 years. It's going to
Yes.
be at some point, it's going to be. So at what point is it then okay for you to then speak about these
Yeah.
things? Because
Never
it's like
really,
no matter how long
I
somebody's
think.
been there for, like, and the fact that
Yeah.
you're married there and like you have a Japanese husband and you have, you have a house in Japan, like,
Mm,
why is it that there's just this kind of movement to kind of like shut you up basically? And not just because
mm,
of the vegan thing, like people want to shut up for that, but
yeah.
like just for having opinions.
Yeah. I think but it would apply to someone who is not from a country but lives in a country anyway. So this is something easy people can throw out. If they don't have any arguments at all, this is the argument. So I think, yeah, this is something I learned, and it's like it's gonna come, especially when a reel goes viral, and that's it.
Oh yeah,
Um,
when the reels go
yeah,
viral, that's normally when the everything kicks off. That's normally when you
yeah,
get the most amount of hate. That's when everything kind of
yeah.
gets in the way, and you kind of have to work out how you then deal with that. Whether it's block them, whether it's then talk to them, whether it's starting to kind of aggravate them slightly, so they start speaking
Mm,
more in the comments, and then boost the algorithm more. It's kind of
yeah,
you've either got three ways to go with it, and
yeah.
it's
I
also
mean, I
how you
did
deal with
reply to some comments, but it's not it's not going anywhere really. It's just a waste of time. Um, so I think it's best maybe not to engage directly, just ignore it.
it.
Mm,
Well, with that as well, I think a lot of these people aren't gonna. They don't know who you are, but also in like half an hour's time, they're gonna have forgotten who you are as well because they would have scrolled and typed on someone else's video about something they dislike, and I think it
yeah,
stays
maybe.
with us more than it does them.
Yeah. I mean, it does hurt the first second, it's like, oh, but you don't know me. Why are you so mean? I mean, if you don't have anything nice to say, just scroll. If it's not your cup of tea, just scroll. It's fine. Even though, of course, the engagement rate goes up. But
Mm, yeah.
yeah, I mean, but the funny thing is what I did experience, especially vegan content in the West, usually when you say something like, hey, you don't have to drink dairy in order to receive calcium, right? You can eat plants, be vegan. People will eventually bash how you look like, right? They will say, wow, your eye bags are so dark, you should eat meat, or you're so pale, you should eat meat, or whatnot, right? But when I had a vegan reel go viral in Japan, all the comments were Japanese from Japanese locals, but no one questioned my appearance. They all started different conversations, which I found very interesting because usually I'm more prepared to get personal hate comments for no reason, right? Like, eat some meat, you look pale. But the Japanese comments were more about plants have feelings, and we say itadakimasu before we eat, so it's fine. And what about maybe some painkillers you're taking? These are not vegan either, right? Something like this. But it has more ground, I feel. It's just simple personal attacks. I found that very interesting.
I do find that interesting, and because when someone goes viral over here, the majority will be from kind of like men being like, well, why aren't you more muscular? Why aren't you looking like? And I'm like, I'm not a bodybuilder, or like I'm not an athlete. Like I'm just living my life.
Yeah.
They're like body checked out. Or they say like multitude of things, or like you look pale, or like things like this. And normally these are coming from comments of a guy that's sitting in their mum's basement. And also some of the people that also comment this when you do go onto a profile that either no profile pictures, 0 followers, 0 posts, and no profile
Best
picture.
ones. Are you even real? Are you a bot?
So it's I do get that. Whereas is it different in Japan because that everybody outside of Japan is a white person? We all kind of look the same to them. And I'm only getting this from an experience
Maybe.
of 2 Japanese girls I lived with years ago that were like, they're like, everybody in the world, if they're not from Japan, everybody's American. And then they were like, but you all kind of look the same. You're just all a bit white and pasty. So there's no kind of differentiation between them because we all kind of look the same.
Yeah. I think that's part of it. I do think that's part of it. I'm just a white woman on Instagram,
Whereas I assume if that reel went viral for maybe a Japanese person, then there may be comments about how the Japanese person looks from the other Japanese, because they can differentiate between themselves than they can from all of us just looking like white people.
Yeah. I haven't seen that yet, but I don't know any vegan influencers in Japan who have. I mean, obviously I don't read all the comments, but I have one good friend who's a vegan influencer, and she's like a bodybuilder and super fit. So you can't say anything about her. She looks amazing. So yeah, but I think I just found it very interesting because the majority of Japanese comments were more about plants have feelings too. They have a soul, right? And you should maybe join the Amish and just do.
I remember that comment.
You remember
this
that?
comment. Yeah. Because
It's been a while, but it's
I
like,
still
what
have
does
the
that
screenshot
have
of
to
it.
do? Yeah. So so that was very interesting too. Yeah, but it's a very different level for some reason.
I mean, if all goes downhill after leaving corporate and leaving, if nutrition doesn't work out, the Amish is a great place to go.
Yes, I would. Yes, because all vegans, they don't use electronics and whatnot, right? So, yeah, nah. I mean, but on that regard, I did get some racist comments as well. So not about appearance, but more about go away from Japan. We don't need you here. Yeah. Nice experience, definitely. Internet is a wild place, whatever country you're in.
Yeah, I think the racism is rampant at the moment. Whatever country you're in, England is known for it. Same with America. I think Japan, everywhere, Australia has they're going to have their own problems, but they just don't like other people coming into the country.
Yeah.
But that's how we progress. So screw them.
Yeah. Hopefully one day we will all be friends and eat our vegan sausage and vegan burger. Let's see. I mean, yeah, we all, it's an up and down, right? History has proven that. So
It is. It is. Leo, it's
I love
been.
how our talk, I love how our talk goes from, ew, I hate natto to, yeah, humans, the deep psyche of humans.
That's the thing, is I
Uh,
think with this conversation we had absolutely zero talking points. Normally I go into a conversation with somebody, I have talking
yeah.
points. I messaged you the other day being like, do you have any talking points? And you were like, no.
No.
I'm just seeing
I want
where
to talk about
it
me.
goes.
No, I mean, but I think it's just good to catch up as well. And I mean, whenever you come to Japan, let me know. We definitely have to eat actual vegan food in Japan, which I will show you.
Yeah,
So,
I need a tour of Japan in general. I just need a tour guide. So you're going to be
yeah,
stolen for a week.
yeah. I will send you the invoice later. Don't worry. Please, I need to feed myself. Uh, yeah, let's see
Leo,
how things go. Exciting times.
it's been amazing to have you back. For people
Thank
that do want to, find out more about you, let's say that on their way to Japan, maybe they need a vegan nutrition guide, maybe they need a nutritionist, maybe they need
you.
various Instagrams to follow, one in Japanese and one in English. Like,
Yes,
what,
please.
where can people go to find you?
Yeah, on Instagram, Itadaki Healthy. I'm still there, have been for 5 years. YouTube as well, Itadaki Healthy. Um, my website is still under construction, but yeah, I will build a nice website, and I'm also planning to write a blog about things in Japan. Yeah, so I hope to set that up soon. Just Google Itadaki Healthy and you will find me.
Amazing. Leo, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm grateful for you.
Thank you so much.